If you're adopting a child, there's a federal tax credit that can save you money on your taxes. Eligible expenses for this credit include court and attorney fees, travel expenses, and adoption agency fees. However, if your employer reimburses or pays for any costs, you can't include that in your credit. This also applies to financial aid from the government or other organizations. For the 2024 tax year, the maximum credit per child is $16,810. However, adoption credits taken for the same child in previous years generally count toward that amount. So, for example, if you claimed a $5,000 credit on last year's tax return, you can only claim up to $11,810 of adoption expenses for the same child on your 2024 return. The 2024 credit also starts to phase out once your modified adjusted gross income exceeds $252,150 and is no longer available after it reaches $292,150. The credit is non-refundable, meaning that it's limited to your total tax liability for the year, and you won't receive a refund check if the credit exceeds that amount. But any credit in excess of your tax liability may be carried forward for up to 5 years. There are also special rules for determining when you can claim adoption expenses. If you're adopting a child who's a U.S. citizen or resident, claim expenses paid before the year the adoption is finalized in the year after payment. For example, if you paid adoption expenses in 2024, you can claim them for the 2025 tax year, even if the adoption isn't finalized until 2026. On the other hand, expenses paid in the year the adoption is finalized, or later, can be claimed in the year of payment. For foreign adoptions, expenses paid before the year the adoption is finalized can't be claimed until the year the adoption is final. For example, if you paid foreign adoption expenses in 2024 and the adoption isn't finalized until 2026, you can't claim the expenses until the 2026 tax year. Once the adoption is final, any eligible expenses paid that year or later can be claimed for the tax year you pay them. One more thing, you can still take the adoption credit even if you never finalize the adoption, but only if the child you try to adopt is a U.S. citizen or resident. For more information about this and other tax topics, visit turbotax.com.